This is Kuro. Got a tier 8 game in my tier 6 Fubuki. Going over the matchmaking, it's kind of ugly with Baltimore, Cleveland, Atlanta, Belfast, and a couple gunboat destroyers, as well as a Perth that can generally get in there and be a really close range pest to destroyers. This game, it's kind of about picking your battles, because Fubuki is she's a specialized hunter. Um, she does really well targeting battleships or areas where ships basically have to pass through, channels. Initially, my plan is to come up here on the flank, try to get some spots. I've got a Baltimore with me, just in the offhand chance I happen to run into one of the gunboats. Um, I'm kind of happy just with this situation, just pushing the flank and, you know, doing that right here. I'm just I'm still toying around with the guns, with the dispersion, trying to get a better feel for them. But regardless, that's my initial game plan, and I'm gonna end up changing my mind. Um, you'll see why here shortly. Well, right here. Very first thing, Baltimore starts turning away. And, that's not something that I'm looking forward to if I'm going to be running into enemy gunboats. So, right now, I'm already thinking I need to play really cautious. I'm just going to come up here and just take a quick peek, see what's pushing the corner, because if nothing scouts this, then my team can easily get blindsided by, 3, 4, 5 ships just racing right up the 1-2 line, and everybody gets, just ass blasted. So, I come across one of the ships that I didn't want to run across. Fortunately, I spot him early. I don't think this guy's running concealment expert on the boat. I think he's running full gun spec. And, he turns out, not really worth it for him to try to pick a fight right now with, everything going, just getting initially spotted. So he does the right move and he just falls back. Now this Baltimore, that's another thing that I don't really want to be messing with. He's pushing right up. I'm kind of anticipating that this guy is gonna keep pushing up. He's dry sailing kind of like a potato. So I launch my torps basically thinking he's a potato, and I don't know what this is. I mean, yeah, they're not XP rewards for eating each individual torp. So I don't know what that was, but I get radared, and oddly, the Minsk is the first thing that shoots at me. And honestly, I don't mind this. I'm not going to take a bunch of damage, but this is giving my team information on these guys where they can start knocking the crap out of them. And if I hardly took any damage, and now this Baltimore, he's pretty much as good as dead with this Nagato sitting right over my shoulder. And I'm okay with that. Going ahead, drop some torps in the path of where I think the Baltimore's gonna go. And at this point, I am, looking around, and I'm seeing things that I don't like on the map. I've got a Belfast that's, already in the mid here. I'm starting to think that this Minsk is actually a good player by, that's the second decent play that he's made. Honestly, though, it not gonna matter. My Nagato kills him, and if the Nagato wouldn't have, my Torps would have. Um, but I'm really starting to think that this Minsk is a decent player. And I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna try to ambush the Minsk. I know that this Belfast is around here, so I want to kind of play careful. I see the shots, that's most likely the Belfast. And this Minsk has turned back into me. I'm watching him right now. And I'm gonna go ahead and just smoke up. Now he's smoked now, so he's exposed right now. He's shooting at my Nagato. He's kind of ambushed, and I mean, under 6 kilometers, 2 shell hits. Come on, Wargaming, that's bullshit. Come on. My aim is not that shit, and this is what I'm talking about with this ship. Now I flubbed this shot. Actually, I'm not even sure how I flubbed that shot. I still aimed high, and that shot went. Both those shots went low. I don't know. The guns on this ship, something's going on. There's really no use for me to sit in this smoke because all that's going to do, it gives that Belfast an opportunity to push up and radar me. Now, even though there's a Baltimore over here, you know, still probably a good idea to get out of the smoke, get moving, that way you're at least a harder target. Belfast pops up. I really don't know what this Moss is doing, but I'm just gonna help him out. This is something that I don't see enough destroyers doing. When your team's occupied and they're gonna be taking the fire, shoot the enemy. Do whatever you can, because the quicker the enemy dies, the more your team, the more healthy your teammates stay. So, it's not a lot of damage that I'm contributing, but it's something. Now at this point, I've got the Minsk on the flank, which I'm not really. I really don't just want to go here and fight this guy. That's not what my boat is specialized for. You've got a Baltimore out here. As far as I'm concerned, let the Baltimore just zone this guy out of cap. Or at least knock him down enough to where I can actually pick that fight. So for now, I'm gonna just continue south and see what I can do. This Indianapolis is overextended. He's going to die. I have my doubts that this New Orleans is going to survive this encounter. You've got a Perth smoked up here, and the Massachusetts there. You've got a Scharnhorst. I mean, these guys are all we're in a crossfire with battleships and cruisers shooting at them, and that's just horrible positioning for any type of cruiser. Don't do that, cruiser players. It's just not worth it. Okay, coming up here, I'm kind of cycling through different targets. Kind of drop some perspective torpedoes on the Scharnhorst. I'm tentatively thinking that this guy, he might try to turn in. Um, my initial thoughts were this guy was still going to sail in this direction and keep pushing since there wasn't really anything in the middle that he could shoot. Um, but he ends up turning in. All those torps are going to miss, and I got to go back to the drawing board. I mean, this guy may have torpedo acquisition and vigilance, and he might be a torp build, and you know, these torps have, I think, 1.5 kilometer visual detection. So, I mean, if he's full torp build, I'm gonna have a hard time torping him. That's just kind of the nature of actually having, a torp build. So instead of messing with the Shornhorse for now, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to torp the Massachusetts. And I lay a pretty tight spread on this Massachusetts. I'm anticipating there's not a lot of pressure. I think this guy's just going to keep kiting, and I think he's going to turn out a little bit. That's why I launched just a little bit on the indicator. And that's pretty much exactly what he's doing. And I think my prediction's going to be pretty solid on him. And you can start to see as soon as they get detected that, guys, start panic turning, and, I think I'm going to get 4, yeah. And that's a wrecked Massachusetts right there. So my torpedoes are almost back up again. I'm already, ducking back in to see what I can do. The Massachusetts, unfortunately, is healing up. I don't really want to expose myself shooting to try to finish him off, so I'm just going to keep going up here. I'm anticipating that this Scharnhorst is going to try to push up this island chain. Now, I don't think this Moss has concealment expert, or there's something going on, because he gets spotted right here and kind of blows his torpedo cover. I go on ahead and smoke up. I've just made the determination. I'm not going to let this Scharnhorst get away. He pretty much dies right now, and I'm willing to burn a smoke over it. He's kind of boxed himself in between this island and me, and right now I'm just going through and shooting targets that I can. Scharnhorst shoots right now, and that tells me it's time to kill him. I think he's going to continue turning, and that's why I'm launching on the lead side of the indicator. And I am within torpedo range, so I'm just going to go ahead and bail. There's not really anything here for me right now. I am kind of concerned about the 2 Leons pushing me. Obviously, being pinched between these guys, that's a bad situation. Now, notice when I bail, I keep my smoke in between me and the Scharnhorst, just to screen me from him. He died, so, eventually it didn't matter, but exposing myself in a crossfire between battleships, that'd be a really good way to get wrecked quick. So, Scharnhorst is down, and that pretty much clears out this entire flank. We've got the 2 Leons and a Bismarck, and believe the Perth went on the 910. So I'm pushing up this way to try to help my team. These torps, I kind of doubt that the Leons are going to actually push out, but on the offhand chance they do, the torps are there. Maybe I get lucky. But I mean, this Minx, he's still alive. He's still on the 1-2. If I had been out here playing with this guy, chances are I would have gotten him killed. But he hasn't really done anything for his team. You know, I'm sure he's harassed the hell out of some guys. Um, but he hasn't really gotten on cap. He hasn't, really done anything that critical. Um, to make his team win at this point. Um, and if I would have been out here, I would have been in the same boat. There wasn't anything that I could really hunt on the 1-2 line. So you know, uh, don't overcommit yourself to an area. If a place is, bad, just pull back, relocate. Nothing says you have to fight this one spot. Now here I launch a perspective torpedo volley on this guy. I kind of think he's going to reverse around this little island here, so I don't want to overdo it. I drop on the Bismarck and I start kiting away. Now, I thought Bismarck had hydro up with the way that he was turning. Um, but I guess he's turning to get his back guns off or something. I don't know. Because he turns right back right in front of these torps. And I think he takes 2. Yeah. 2 in the flood, and I mean that's a nice chunk of damage. And that also tells me that his hydro's down right now. So there is an offhand chance that he's popping it now. But oftentimes I find that these torpedoes reload so quick, sometimes people don't expect torpedoes as quick as this build will launch. And I'm just launching some torpedoes basically where I think that he's going. He's gonna turn back, and I'm holding one set of torps just to basically YOLO torp him if I need to. It's looking like my team might kill him, so just trying to help out with the guns. The Bismarck's down. Got this Perth that smoke's probably gonna run out on soon. I think those torps don't have range anyway. Perth is accelerating, and that's close. It really looked like that was one of my torps hitting it, but I didn't get a torp hit there. That was a Citadel for the Baltimore. But right now I see the Minx. He's pushing in. He's low enough I can pick this fight. I've been pretty cautious with my HP all game, and I mean, my Nagato, he's done enough just stalling this guy out. So I'm gonna go push over there, and I'm just gonna go sort it out. At least keep him off my cap. And really, the only chance that this guy has is to get kills, and he needs to really push it. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to cut off, his likely avenue of approach into the cap with torps, and then gonna try to pressure this guy. And there's less than a minute left. If I had more time, I would have just stalked closer. I would have got inside, probably inside 7 kilometers before I started shooting to make sure that I got the guy pretty quick, because his boat is much better than mine at this, especially with the wonky dispersion that my boat has. Um, so I mean, even at this range, I'd get him eventually, but you know, time runs out. Now there's a nice bug in the game where the post-battle results stall out, so I'm gonna have to go back to port, then reload it. So 135,000 damage, 1700 base XP. You know, obviously almost all of it is torpedo damage. Um, you know, just a solid, you know, torpedo game, and that's looking like what this DD's shaping up to be. Um, to be successful in it, you really gotta watch where the enemy battleships are going, or where the enemy pushes, and position yourself and just keep flooding the enemy with torps, either launching directly at them or clogging choke points, you know, torping, you know, corners around islands where people like to, you know, peek out, that kind of thing. Any sort of high volume area. So, uh, hope you guys like this Fubuki video. Um, it's just a little bit more on positioning, uh, not tying yourself really to one part of the map. Um, and that's another important thing to be successful in a torpedo boat. So hope you guys having a good night. I will talk to you later.